This episode is brought to you by you. Yes, you. Do you want to sponsor an episode of the Friendly Heckler podcast? Donate towards future episodes? Do you have a small business that you want to spread the word about? Well, this could be your spot. And I love bartering because money is terrible. So, throw me your ideas. I've already received a couple donations through my website, zakarymiller.com. So thank you to the incredible folks who went that route. Or to the lovely live audience members who come out to these recordings. Thank you so much for bringing your energy, minds, and clapping hands to all these shows. And as for the rest of you, think about it. Let's combine forces and share more of the incredible artists we're surrounded by. All sorts of membership and sponsorship packages can be offered. So, email me at thefriendlyheckler@gmail.com. That's thefriendlyheckler@gmail.com. Let's chat! Hello! Gwe! Angai! And well, come on in. You have downloaded, subscribed, or tuned in to The Friendly Heckler, and I'm your host and friendly neighborhood heckler, Zakary Miller. How kind of you to spend your precious time with me in your ears. Thank you. Thank you for giving this podcast a chance if you're just tuning in for the first time, or if somebody's forcing you to listen to this right now. Hey, you. That's really cool. Thank you for being wild and reckless with me in your ears. Thank you. If you are just tuning in for the first time, you got to friggin' go back and hear some of the amazing artists I've gotten to sit down with. Some of the other artists are crazy, too. There's some wild episodes out there, including a card trick at the end of one episode. Get that in your ears. A card trick at the end of an episode. It happened. Anyway, some of the finest performers and humans I've ever met, let alone gotten to see perform in front of me, 3 feet from me. It's amazing to listen to. So please keep exploring this podcast. We're in this together. But let's get to this episode and our unbelievable guest, Gina Burgess. This live recording took place in the community of Ardoise in Nova Scotia. It's a community hall that I actually had to sleep outside of when Nova Scotia's emergency alert system revealed its immense failures during weather events. Let's call them weather events. That's what they're saying. They're calling it a lot of rain. But it was tragic. There was some deaths. There was immense flooding. There was crazy, just washed out roads. It was really apocalyptic when I drove through it the next morning after sleeping outside the hall. All due to a lack of proper weather tracking ability that the federal government continues to defund. But, alas, that night, the Ardoise Hall parking lot was my sanctuary of safety for me, Kim and Devin Lake, and our friend Jackie, who gets mentioned quite a few times in this episode, so shout out to Jackie. It turned out to be the perfect hall, too, to record Gina Burgess. She had family nearby, and the sound of this hall was a perfect space for some solo radical fiddle. So thanks to the fine folks at the Ardoise Hall for both being high ground and letting us record this show there. My guest today, right now that you're listening to this is winter time that we recorded this, so just a heads up. I try to make these timeless and endless, but this is winter time. But my guest on this episode is Gina Burgess, and Gina walks that line between violinist and fiddler, combining every influence she's ever heard into her works. There's Hungarian Roma style playing mixed with that Cape Breton lilt to it sometimes. There's improv and noise elements approached with the intensity and precision of classical composers, I'd say. Gina is truly one of those inventors of sound to me, exploring genres fearlessly, tearing down their walls and blending it all together. Well, listening to the room and playing the audience just as much. I Love a Record is now, which you can find on Gina's website, ginaburgessmusic.com, which I have in the show notes, or her Bandcamp. Look her up on Bandcamp, because the next Bandcamp Friday is February 2nd, 2024, by the way. So go nuts on February 2nd on Bandcamp. Shout out to Bandcamp. There is a lot of depth to these instrumental pieces, and actually I bring this up in advance because Gina wanted me to give you listeners a little heads up, a trigger warning for those of you who might have trouble discussing or maybe recently going through some trauma around death, or in this case particularly, missing and murdered Indigenous women. Because I say this at the time that we're recording this, the RCMP here in Canada, our Royal Mounted Police Force, that is, which was built on colonial and racist principles in the first place, just went public about throwing out evidence in a serial killer case from some years back, which is disgusting and it's just sloppy. So as the guy's chance at parole comes up soon, in this case, it's riddled with messy, inherently racist policing and sloppy casework that the RCMP has become famous for in these stories. So it's absolutely necessary that we all talk about it. And yes, even this rinky-dink little podcast about music and funny moments should still be mentioning stuff like this because we should all be talking about it. It's absolutely necessary. The community members we've lost, the stories they've gone through, the screams, the whispers, and the injustice that all just seems to play out is daily news. But let's call it what it is. It's an epidemic. It's a genocide of negligence on Canada's part. So, yes, if you're uncomfortable with that discussion or hearing an artist's interpretation of our national atrocities, then you may want to stop listening around the 1 hour mark. But I stand with the families whose loved ones never got closure and who were offered no explanation but bureaucratic oversight. So I hope everyone can be more open about what's happening in our communities, in our neighbors' communities too. People shouldn't have to live in shadows. So let's connect that to the music, because we all share music. And I think Gina Burgess can bridge some of those gaps for this country. She's honest, open, and willing to chat about anything and everything here. So that's the point of this podcast, to cut through the thicket of it all and forage for insight from each artist. But Gina does an amazing job of that in this episode, and these heavy issues can blend with music. We can get real about it. We can still laugh before and after, but we have to be honest with each other. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening through that. If you're dealing with any of that, I really appreciate you tuning in whatsoever, and my heart goes out to all of you who might be dealing with that, and especially in the Indigenous communities in this country. It's ridiculous what you've gone through, but your perseverance is really inspiring. So all that and more on this episode. Please enjoy my hang with Gina Burgess, our conversation, and of course, again, the music. Please welcome to the stage, Gina Burgess! Ah!
Whee!
Is that the way you open your record, too?
Nope, that's Enochi.
Okay, what did you just play?
Ravens on the Roof.
That's Ravens on the Roof. Wow, that's such a cool song.
It's fun.
Okay, let's jump into this. Let's get real, Gina. You turning your pedals off?
Yes.
For the podcast listeners, Gina's working some loop pedals. If you didn't realize, that was one person. That wasn't... Gina doesn't have 8 hands, but where are you from, Gina?
Windsor, Nova Scotia.
Really? Wow.
Windsor/Spryfield.
For everyone listening,
Deadly
too,
combo.
we're recording in the town of Ardoise, which is the village of Ardoise. Is it a village? The corner of Ardoise, which is just outside of Windsor. It's Windsor's furthest corner, I guess. Is that? No, that's not what they call it. Anyway, yes, we're in the beautiful Ardoise Hall. So you got family nearby then, eh?
I have 2 of them right here.
Hello.
Heyo.
Hi, Gina's family. Thank you. Thank you for coming. How about a hand for Gina's family? You did good.
Wouldn't be here without them.
You did good. Fine child.
Literally.
Yeah. Where does this music come from for you?
It's a mix between Nunavut and Nova Scotia and my travels in between.
Oh, your travels in between. That sounds like a long book.
Yeah, probably.
Because how would you define your music? Like, it must be hard to fill out a festival application.
It is. It sucks, actually. There are many elements to the music. It's definitely Celtic inspired. You know, growing up in Nova Scotia, there's a lot of Celtic fiddling. I'm classically trained, so there's some classical elements. Also, I've been living part-time and working in Nunavut for like 14 years, so there's a lot of Arctic soundscape things. Of course, on the album, there's also an Inuit throat singer, so that's in there as well. Klezmer. So you might have heard, actually someone dubbed that song my Kles Breton music. So
Kles Breton?
Yeah, it uses the chord structure of like a Cape Breton fiddle tune, but I use the modes of like one of the klezmer scales.
Oh, that should be a festival unto itself.
I agree.
Kles Breton
Shall we
festival?
start it?
Please.
You
yeah.
play klezmer?
I dabble.
Yeah.
I dabble. I'm very
Me too.
interested. Yeah. Is that what you write on your festival applications? I dabble.
I dabble. I should.
Just across the board. So you must be able to kind of fit into a lot of musical boxes. I kind of hate genres in general.
Yes, but on those applications, if you press one button and then you go to press another button, the first one disappears. So you can only be in one box.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you just fill it out different every time.
Yeah.
Never as
Depending on
country,
the
right?
festival.
You've never filled it out as country, though.
No.
Folk?
Yes.
Yeah. Klezmer. There's no box for klezmer
There's no
usually.
box for klezmer, no.
Unfortunately, Stanfest removed that box about 8 years ago. Yeah, I wondered how you defined it, because you do. I was thinking your music is sort of like the Northwest Passage of sounds. You literally travel the whole north of Canada, coming from here, and you do go into that Eastern European vibe. Is that part of your travels? Did you end up in Eastern Europe at some point?
I did, yeah. I toured with a few different bands, and I got to spend a month in Hungary. I always wanted to go to Hungary my whole life. When I was studying classical music, the music that I was most drawn to was like Brahms' Hungarian dances and Rimsky-Korsakov, all of the kind of like, you know, Eastern European sounding ones. And then, of course, playing with gypsophilia, I learned that actually that's its own style of music that classical composers appropriated. And
Wow.
I just wanted to go to the source myself. Hungarian violin's amazing.
What's that style considered? What's it called?
I don't know the actual term, but
gypsy
the folk music,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, you don't say gypsy music
Roma.
anymore. Roma. Okay.
Roma,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
is the politically correct term for gypsy.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad we didn't spend the next hour and a
Yeah.
half me saying gypsy and you going, oh man.
No, well,
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, gypsophilia.
Yeah, well,
You know,
yeah,
like
right.
we can just be real about that. There was definitely near the end of our band, that was one of the reasons that contributed to us like stopping.
Wow.
We all had other things on the go, children and different projects. I was traveling a lot with the jerry cans, and then we just kind of realized, you know, like if we're gonna start all over again with a new name, we're really starting all over again. Do we want to do that? And I think the answer, well, obviously the answer was no. So
Right. But I mean, each of you have so much in the back of your head. It's like
yes.
you and I have discussed a bit. You and I were very lucky to actually both participate in this very strange.
That was so awesome.
Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Okay. We're allowed to, though?
I think so.
Okay. Gina and I ended up at Citadel Hill on a Saturday and Sunday night, both nights, with a secret show that was only announced to the audience members day of, I think, or night of.
Before, I think.
Night before they found out?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And there was comedy, there was dancers, there was music. Gina played. I played in a band called the Coconut Kings. And I feel like that was very lucky because we got to actually do our pre-interview and chat a bit.
Yeah.
And you told me about all the stuff you have backburnered. Do you feel like you have a lot on your mind at all times musically?
God, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Is it hard to get out all at once? Your album is
You
such
can't get it out all at once. No, definitely not. No. It's a shoot.
How do you prioritize?
I feel it. I feel what's happening at the time, and I go with it. Yeah. Like, I won't be doing this as now forever. Nothing lasts forever, of course. But yeah, when I was playing with Gypsophilia, it felt right. And then I was playing with the Jerry Cans. It started to really pick up, and I was playing a lot more with them, and that felt right. And now my solo project and whatever else comes in the future.
Wow. Have you taught that entire time to, like, have you been teaching your entire musical career as well? Wow.
Yeah.
When did you first pick up a fiddle then?
When I was 5.
5?
Yeah.
And you felt like that's your voice?
Oh, I wanted it. Yeah, I definitely wanted it.
Had you heard people play it before?
Yes.
Was music in your house?
Oh, yes, very much. Both sides of my family.
Okay. I was sort of asking your family as well. Music was a big part?
Huge.
Wow. Even from before your time, like your parents? And wow. Okay. And a lot of fiddles in the house? On
Grammy's side, Grammy's father, who's right there, well, her father's not there, but maybe. Anyway,
he's
played
invited.
the fiddle. Yeah. And Hawaiian guitar. Hawaiian guitar, that's right up your alley.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an interesting mix. Really? Okay.
Most of us are like that.
Did he drink poi or something? Was that no? Okay. Okay. Just figured maybe he's really into Hawaiian culture.
No, I don't think. Maybe.
Well, that's wild. Okay. All right. So you somehow you didn't end up just playing Celtic music. Classical spoke to you, eh?
Well, I wouldn't say it. Maybe. Here's kind of a cool story. So I don't know how old I was, but I went to go see my grandmother, my other grandmother, my grandfather, and a woman named Gina playing violin. And they were playing Beethoven trios.
Cool.
So my grandma was on cello, my grandfather was on piano, and then this woman, Gina, was playing the violin. And I knew. I think I was like, 3 or 4 or something? And I was just like, I want that. I want that. Yeah. That's me. My name's Gina. I'm going to do that.
Was it the first instrument you had picked up?
Yeah.
Oh, and it just came naturally to you.
Yeah. A little bit creepy, in fact.
Oh, because we've kind of spoken about this too. You have really good relative pitch. Like, you don't use a tuner. You actually put a tuning fork in your mouth before the show.
Yes.
Will you show the audience tonight how you use this?
You hit it on your knee. You can put it anywhere, but I put it in my teeth.
Oh, yeah, it came through on the microphone. Wow. I've never seen anybody bite down on the tuning fork. That's nuts.
Yeah, because then you can hear it, but you're more like feeling it than hearing it. And so I've used this, I was saying, at really loud rock and roll shows when I have to tune up before the gig. And I can't hear. Like, I actually can't hear, but I can feel this. And I can feel the violin sitting on my chest and know when it's in tune.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine.
school.
If you ever lose your hearing, you'll be fine.
Yes,
kid.
I believe so. I won't like that, but I'll be all right.
Because violin can be a very loud instrument, do you feel like you have, is your hearing different in either ear?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Does that worry you at all?
Nah.
Good. Okay, cool. It's going to happen at some point.
Yes.
Actually, I totally forgot when we were talking about Hungary very briefly. this is kind of so fitting because I brought you something, and I didn't realize there was going to be a friggin' Christmas tree on stage.
That's okay.
But
I like the Yule tree.
it's very fitting because let me reach into these fake gifts they put up on stage, and I brought you something. I was listening to this record the other day, and I was like, I like this record a lot, but I feel like Gina might enjoy this a bit more. So
yes,
this
I
is
will.
some Hungarian
What
fiddle
the heck?
music.
That's so rando.
I know.
What?
I don't even know how you pronounce the name.
Me neither.
Baba.
No clue. Oh yeah, Bella Bye-Bye.
Bella Bye. Mm-hmm. And it's called Let the Gypsies Play. So here we are.
Sigani Zen Erkera.
This was probably put out.
Sigani is like a style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's some, we have the Chardas and stuff, which would be in that genre.
With your writing now, because you're kind of, you dip into that a bit, but do you feel like you're writing more, like, is now? Are you combining all of those sounds? You feel like you're putting a bit of Hungary in there, and a bit of the klezmer, and a bit of the Celtic, or do you feel like you have to focus it a little bit? Like, is there a bit of Hungary on this now?
I think so. I would say definitely on Ravens on the Roof. Like I'm using those like klezmer scales and stuff, and of course klezmer is huge in Eastern Europe, but it's not intentional. Like nothing. I don't know. Nothing really is intentional. It comes through me. Like I really do feel like a vessel. I never once, actually one time. That's a lie. One time in my life, I sat down and thought, I'm going to write something now, and I did. But otherwise, these things come to me when I'm out walking, usually. When I'm just listening to soundscapes. A lot of the now is using bird songs, songs of nature, which of course is also Inuit throat singing, is a mimicry of nature. So a lot of that album in particular uses pentatonic scales, like an actual copies of birds.
Wow.
That I would hear and record sometimes, or hear and just like copy.
And you wrote Ravens on the Roof in Newfoundland, right?
In Igloolik, Nunavut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Again, it just like came to me. I was sitting on the doorstep and I was looking at the house across the street, and there were actually ravens hopping around on the house, having a lovely time. And that song just like came into my head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Will you play me another cut
Sure.
off that record?
Yes.
Oh. Ooh, what do I want? What do I want? I want you to choose another one, actually. I feel like it's a better introduction if you, and then I'll bother you for one. Because there's so many songs on that I like want to talk to you
Okay,
about.
well, let's do it. But can you just talk for a sec? Because I have to retune my
Yes,
violin for
please
this one.
retune.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk, and I'm probably going to just talk about myself because that's what I'm best at. No, just kidding. Like, for example, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about on that record was Kingsburg Blues. Is that about Kingsburg, Nova Scotia?
Yeah.
Nice.
That one came to me there. It was whispered to me by the Rosebud Fairies.
Oh, that's terrifying.
No.
They're good?
They're good.
Okay. I don't know. I figure they're thorny or something, those Rosebud Fairies.
Wow.
That seems like a nice place to have the blues. Am I right?
Yes, actually.
No, too shabby.
There are definitely worse places to have the blues than Kingsburg.
I would love to have the blues there. And then also, No More War is such a heavy tune. I won't make you play that tonight because it seems like a lot of things going on.
There are a lot of things going on, yeah. Those two pieces, I'll just come back. Those two pieces in particular are actually written in an altered tuning.
Oh, wow.
So usually if I'm going to play them in a set, I'll play both of them back to back so that I don't have to like mess around tuning all the time.
That's so funny
But
that
there's
those are the two.
two different altered tunings on this record. Yeah.
So what are you going to play now?
Frost Forming.
Oh, awesome. Please.
But I still have to fix this tuning.
Oh, well then I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking to myself. I don't want to disturb the artist while she tunes. It's such a tedious process. But she also has really good pitch, so I don't think I'll mess with her.
Oh, it's so worth it. It's so worth it to have an in-tune instrument. Okay. Ready? Ready? Yes. There's a part for you guys.
Thank you.
It really does feel like spring.
Huh?
That really does feel like spring to me. There's something so hopeful about it.
It was spring. It was March, I believe. Yeah.
The frost was warming. You were up north?
Actually, Nova Scotia, on Willow Street in Halifax.
Oh, okay.
Looking out my backyard, and there was a big ice storm. And so the trees were getting slowly more like encrusted in ice and getting like heavier and just like dropping down. And again, that song it just came.
You captured that feeling beautifully in that. That's something I noticed on that record, Let the Gypsies Play, that I gave you, actually, that there's something so hopeful in a lot of the playing.
Mm-hmm.
It starts out with minors in some of the songs, but either way, there's always this section where it really picks up, or it turns into a major key, and it gets really beautiful. And I feel like you do that.
Yes.
There's such a classical sensibility to your playing. It's really, really cool to see and hear. That piece...
So that's a bird song.
That's a bird song?
Da-dee-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-dum. That's
What
a bird. I don't know, but it's one that comes around in the spring. I don't know which one that is. Some of them I do know.
Do you learn them every time you hear them?
Sometimes.
If you
That
have an
actually
instrument
might
nearby?
be a red-winged blackbird.
Whoa.
I think it might be.
Oh, they're jerks.
They can be.
Wow, that's really nice of you to include them in your piece.
Well, they do have a nice sound to them.
Yeah. Wow. So you spent time in Hungary. Where else in Eastern Europe did you kind of end up that was really stuck with
Mostly
you?
Hungary. Yeah, because I had like a longer experience there. My God, I've been to so many places now. I'm like, where did I go?
Because of touring, you ended up in a lot of places, or did you end up have you done residencies in these countries too? Or?
No, not yet. That is definitely something I'm interested in, though. Yeah. What's going on here? Yeah, I haven't done residencies yet. I would love to do one in Berlin.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's like on the
Creative.
list.
Is it because you like to party?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. You like to go out late.
I do.
Nice. I just lost all my German listeners by doing that accent. I'm
Yeah, you
sure I
probably
did.
did.
All two of them are pissed. I'm going to get 2 emails. They're so angry. But, okay, Berlin.
That's all right.
And we talked about, you lived in Hawaii.
I did for a little bit.
So that slide guitar that was in the house really rubbed off on you then, eh?
Yes.
Will you tell me how Hawaii affected you musically?
Yes. Okay, so I went down in February of some year. Couldn't tell you when. And February is when we have the RPM challenge, the Make a Record in 1 Month challenge. Yeah.
Who's we?
Oh, all of Canada.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess...
Newfoundlanders take that very serious, actually.
The RPM?
Yeah. It's really cool. Like last year, 5 or 6 of the people I know in St. John's made albums
Wow,
in the month of
that's cool.
February.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a thing.
Okay.
And like I said before, I don't set out to like compose music. It just comes or not. But the bass player from the Jerry Cans, actually, because I was playing with them at this time and we had a month off, he said, why don't you make an RPM? And I was kind of like, yeah, haha, we'll see, maybe. And then I went down there and I actually thought, like, well, maybe I could, try to write something, see what happens. So I was looking around. I'm not a lyricist. I don't really write words.
No poetry?
I have some. It's pretty rando.
It's personal? It's random?
No, it's just like one every 7 years, but they're bangers.
Nice.
But like,
Nice.
yeah, they're just so random. But anyway, so I looked at like, okay, what do I have here? And I had a Jeanette Winterson book. I adore Jeanette Winterson, author, called The Power Book. And so I thought, oh, okay, her books are like very poetic. They're like poetry, actually. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I could do something with that. And so I just went through the book, the first like couple of chapters, and I just put little flags in like the paragraphs that I particularly liked.
Okay.
And it just happened. Like this music started to come again. Like I do definitely feel like a conduit for spirit of music. This music came and it matched perfectly. And I thought, oh my God, okay. And then it got to the point where I would feel these movements, and not bowel movements, like
No, that's okay. I
musical
got you, yeah.
movements.
Yeah. They were
coming.
pretty bassy notes, though. I'll tell you.
Some of them were.
Interesting.
But yeah, it got to the point where like even my friends would be like, oh, okay, she's going to take off now with her computer. And I'd feel it coming, and then I would have to go grab my computer or it would go away. So go grab my computer and play this music. And like each and every single time, it matched up because I did this on purpose. I didn't skip ahead in the book. I didn't want to know what's coming next.
Oh.
And each and every single time, it matched up perfectly, musically, with what the words were for that chapter.
Like the rhythm of the words, you mean, or just the feelings
just
of the pieces?
feelings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the feelings.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I didn't finish that. So the end of February came, and it was so close to being done. The book was so close to being done, but I wasn't finished. And I was lamenting, like, well, damn it, I have all of this stuff now, and I'm about to leave, because I really did feel like it was the spirit of that place, like, coming through me and asking to be spoken of in this way.
Where were you exactly?
Well, that was the other thing. So the spirit told me to go around the island and collect sound fragments of the ocean from all 4 points of the island, which I did.
The Big Island?
The Big Island,
okay.
yeah. And it instructed me to get the sounds of nature, birds. Oh my God, I was up like freaking 4:30 in the morning to record these birds. I'm not a morning person, so this is like a big deal.
Okay.
But I did it. And to get like the wind in the trees and fire and rivers.
It's
a lot about water.
You're recording them on your phone sort of thing? Just to...
Oh my God, I recorded them on my computer.
Awesome.
Yeah, you should have seen me. Like rock hopping with my computer. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was so dangerous.
You holding your laptop like right up to a babbling brook?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, what a tourist. She doesn't even know how to take photos with a cell phone, eh?
So awkward.
Okay, good.
So anyway, I didn't finish. And I was chatting with some people that I met there at this like retreat, spirit retreat. And they said, well, you can just come back. I was like, no, I can't do that. And then I actually thought, oh my God, I have one gig and then I have another month off. Like that's unheard of. At that time I was touring full time, like 5 years, full time touring. So to have 2 months off with this one gig. So I freaking did it. I flew to Canada, I played that one gig, and then I flew back to Hawaii. And I wasn't there for a month that time. I was there for a shorter amount of time. But I finished that piece on my very last day on that island as the sun set. And again, I didn't plan it out that way. Like it just happened. And then I cried. I closed the computer, closed the book, and just like cried and flew home the next day.
Whoa, that's really beautiful. I did not know that was attached to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I'll never forget the sun dropping. I got my computer. I'm like, holy shit, this is done. And then sundown, done.
Now, when you say you're writing music, you're charting out
I
pieces?
actually recorded it all. So when this comes to fruition, which it will, it's in the chute.
What do you call this project, by the way? Or can you reveal
It's
that?
like a contemporary queer opera.
Hawaiian.
It came from Hawaii. There's nothing Hawaiian sounding about it other than, of course, the nature that is present there.
Yeah, the birds.
The birds and all that. But like the music itself, like none of it's like Hawaiian in any way. It's classical.
Wow.
And it's for a contemporary vocalist. I have someone in mind who does all these really cool effects with her voice. And it's for a flexible ensemble. So, and right after this trip, actually COVID happened. And so I realized like, this piece could be played by any number of people. So if we can only have like 5 at a gathering, this piece could be played. Or it could also be played by like 30 people.
Wow, like a real modern.
So it's flex.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you study that kind of modern contemporary classical
no.
music too?
No.
No. Do you find it disinteresting in a way, like the academia of modern contemporary classical? I hate to say it like that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad that people do it.
Okay. Yeah. Me too.
And if I'm going to play, I mean, I'm using air quotes now because, of course, classical music is only music from the 1600s.
Right. Okay, let's get particular. Let's do it.
Just
Mozart,
saying.
Beethoven. What's that?
Beethoven's
Chopin?
romantic. Chopin's romantic.
Oh my God! Well,
Haydn,
I'm such a romantic.
classical.
I know. Okay, sorry.
But yeah, like the contemporary stuff doesn't speak to me as much as Baroque music and actual classical music. And I think that's because of the patterns.
The what's?
The patterns.
Oh, like the structure of the tunes, you mean? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just doesn't offer you enough. Not like Roma music.
It's a bit too, I mean, again, like there's lots of modern music and some of it I do really like.
Yeah.
Actually, the stuff that's coming out right now, I actually really like.
Ooh, anyone in particular?
Hmm.
Want to send love out to anyone in the universe?
Gosh, I can't even think now that I'm on the spot.
I know. You can just yell it out 4 hours later.
Okay, I might do that, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You won't be there, but I'll call you up.
Call me, and then I'll record it into the microphone, and then I'll edit it into the podcast.
I can send you a voice memo. I love sending voice memos.
Are you one of those people who
Yes, I can't text. I
So
can't.
you
Since
just
this
send,
concussion I had, I can't text.
Hey, what's going on?
Yes, I
just
do.
wanted to respond to you. I think
Yep.
that's so funny. Valmy always does that with me. Like,
Yes, Valmy and I do that.
okay.
Together.
Wait, even when you're in St. John's, you guys are
Yeah.
voice texting each other? Oh, come on. Just call. Just call.
Yeah, that's true, actually. But, I don't know. You can send a voice memo whenever you want, and then
Yeah.
the other person can receive it whenever they want, unlike a phone call.
Do you have a voice memo voice? Do you
Yeah,
put
you're
on-
hearing it right now.
This is it? This is your voice
I
memo
think
voice?
so.
You don't get all like, hey,
No.
I have to be quiet because my roommates are listening. So
No, if the roommates are listening, I'll text.
okay, right, right. You were saying that you would like leave the room when you were in Hawaii just to go work on your piece because things came to you. So have you always been that kind of roommate who's like, guys, I gotta go? And
I
just disappear?
should have been, I think, in some cases. But I thought it was more socially acceptable to stick around.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And let the tune swirl in your head and then just smile and nod while they're talking to you.
No, I would say actually that Hawaiian experience was very unique. I haven't experienced anything like that before.
Because you hadn't like sat down to the task and forced yourself. That's very diligent. That's
I think
very
also
classically-
because like I had time to be quiet. I had time to go like sit by a river for a second and listen. It's all there.
I always like the question: are you on intake or output? Like, are you absorbing material right now, or do you feel like you're writing material? But it sounds like you're pretty balanced. It sounds like you take in and you output fairly
I think
regularly.
so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. Right now, like, of course, all my efforts going into the Is Now album.
Absolutely.
And, like, playing it around and booking gigs for solo, but also, like, for my band and all the configurations that can happen in.
Ah, cool.
So I'm not really, like, composing right now, although I do have, like, 5 or 6 pieces that are in the chute.
Whoa, that's a heavy shoot you got
Yes,
there.
it is.
Jeez, it's like
Yeah,
Santa's
what is it, like,
bag.
back burner? My back burners are full.
You need a whole other stovetop.
Yes, I
friend.
do.
Nice. Can I bother you for a tune then?
Yes.
Well, if we're gonna get those tunes, These Now records, fucking incredible, guys.
I'm so glad you like it.
If you haven't heard it, listeners, just pause the podcast right now. Go to Bandcamp or Gina's website, listen to it, purchase it immediately, and then let it take over your life. It's unbelievable. But I'm going to request the opening track, I think, Anuri. I'd love...
Okay.
Really?
No, it's okay.
Too far?
No,
oh,
it's
wait,
good.
you have
it's
to
good.
you have to retune, don't you?
I do have to retune. That's a megalith of a piece,
Okay.
by the way, but it's okay. I got to
Well,
play it
then-
in a
well,
day or
then-
two, so I should probably practice it. In front
Or
of
there's
all you
another
guys
one
at this
I could
podcast.
request, but it's going a place.
We can try Anochi.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it?
That's how
Anochi?
I say it. I don't think I say it with my Collinet accent, my white person accent.
What did you call yourself?
Collinet.
A Collina?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means a non-Enoch person.
Oh. Just generally, not like particularly a white skin, not in
Generally, but
Okay.
usually white people.
I love
Yeah.
when cultures
There's
have words
actually
like
a
that.
really funny video called Why Collinet Are Funny. It's hilarious, honestly. I would really recommend it.
That's sweet.
You can get it at the
Okay.
library in Iqaluit.
That's mandatory viewing. Like, oh, welcome to Iqaluit. Here's your video.
Okay, I haven't played this in a while.
I don't want to push. I don't want to stretch it. You could just improvise. You could do whatever you want right now.
Well, there might be some in here.
You're one of those players where I can never tell if you're improvising or honestly. And I listened at the underground thing we played. I heard you play the same 2 songs, I guess, about 4 times over 2 days.
Exactly 4.
And honestly, there were still so many moments where I was like, was that new? There's a lot of interplay. It's fascinating to me.
There is. Yeah, there is. And when I'm playing with the band, there's a lot more. Because we were talking about this before, about the game.
Yes.
So all of this music is game-based.
Game-based,
Like
that's a
throat
beautiful way to describe music. Because you're slightly off microphone, I'm going to repeat everything you say. But you're saying, yeah, the music is slightly game-based, like throat singing in particular.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Do you want to hear more about this song, or do you want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
Okay.
Give it to me straight.
Okay. So you're only going to hear half of this piece is actually 3 in 1. So the first piece you're only going to hear half of, because I'm responding to someone who's not here.
Cool.
Okay. Six.
Are you literally calling out time signatures?
So it's not it's not a signature. It's a grouping of notes.
Is this like... what? Oh, I have so many questions.
I know this one's a little bit of a mind
Well,
melt.
what background looks at music like that? Like
Me?
you do? You look at it as groupings. Very
Yeah.
interesting. That's kind of like Indian music, and ragas are sort of like
Totally.
that. Oh, whoa, that was awesome, Gina. It's
So
cool you're
again,
doodling.
that's that when I play it with my band, and we haven't been able to actually play the game yet, but that's a game. So when you hear this. That is like somebody shuffling cards. They shuffle cards. And then, they pull it an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we do that for a little bit, and then we go back and we shuffle again, and then they pull a 2. Do 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 do.
Cool.
But because that is extremely difficult, right now we're just working on counting down.
So
it's
you call...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we count down 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then when I play with my band, we actually don't go down to 1 or none, like I just did right now. That's just what I do, like a solo.
It's beautiful to leave that space solo.
Yeah,
Nice
a
job.
lot of space on this album. And when I play music off of this, in particular, I leave us a lot of space because I value what's happening in the room, in the moment. So somebody drops something over there, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly presence, and it's so important. So I think so much of our, at least I can speak for myself, day is just filled with nonstop chatter, TV, radio, blah, 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 Instagram, it's nonstop. And so this is an opportunity to just like be still.
The clock.
The clock.
I wondered if you picked up on that.
God,
Yeah?
yes, of course, yeah.
Right away.
I actually love it.
It seemed like you were leaving space a couple tunes ago for that.
Yes, I was. See,
How
you picked up on it.
How many clicks?
Oh, I didn't count.
You don't count the ticks in between.
No.
Okay. But you leave the space to appreciate the noise.
Yes, whatever's happening. Like I've played these pieces in many, many different spaces. Some of them are really loud with a lot of chaos. Some of them are super quiet, like tonight with the ticking of the clock. Sometimes it's outside. You get the birds and all different things. So.
And we were talking about this once. You like to play musical jokes a little bit with audiences, right? Like the stomping is very inviting, absolutely, for an audience. But I think a lot of musicians like to lean into the audience a little bit and see if they get those humorous little slides, maybe. Is that a factor for you? Do you like to write musical jokes or play those on the audience?
I play them. I don't write them.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
never written them into a song? Been like, I
don't
hope
think
everyone
so.
laughs at this moment.
No.
Okay,
but
good.
there is a Haydn piece called The Joke where it does that. Like it sets up this expectation
Yeah.
and then like does something different. So everyone's expecting to hear this thing and they're like waiting for it, right?
Yeah.
And then it does something else.
Oh,
It's very witty.
I love when
Haydn.
people do songs with 8 false endings. That's my
Yes,
favorite.
exactly.
Ah, nice. Where were we going with that?
Games?
Yeah, the games. Like we were talking about John Zorn for a little bit, and there's a lot of games in that stuff, and that's like very modern, conducted classical, I guess, neoclassical. But because it's such an important part of the throat singing, I was wondering how you did that in studio. How do you play games like that in a recording situation?
Well, again, it's a little bit different. It's like my band executing that music now. So that part in particular, just to go back to the game, eventually, any band member or audience member, when we get to this level, is able to shout out a number, and the whole band should, bam, be able to nail that pattern. So that's going to happen in the future sometime. But so you can do that kind of stuff live, where you can't do that in the studio as much, unless you're doing a live off the floor, which this album was very much not that.
Very multi-track then.
Yeah.
So then you get to play with that in the mix though, right? So when someone comes in and does throat singing, for example, do you kind of let the throat singer, who was it?
On this album, it's Cynthia Pitzialak.
Oh, that's incredible. Great job, Cynthia.
Yes, for real.
Do you kind of let Cynthia go nuts then and record a piece, or is she recording to your fiddle already?
In that situation, She was in the room. Like, we were all there together. Some things we did all together, and then she would overdub the secondary throat part. So all of the fiddle on this album is doubled, like throat singing, and all of the throat singing is doubled because it's just one person.
Ah, so she gets to play that game sort of with herself
Yes.
then. Did she view it like, did she view it like that in the
I
studio?
believe so.
Okay,
I'll have to
must
ask
have
her. I'm
been
gonna
fun.
see. She's coming here on Sunday
Oh,
Yeah.
for your show?
for a show.
Where?
I can't actually say
Oh,
right now. I know it's a little
okay.
secret.
No, that's okay. This will air after the show anyway.
Well,
So I guess you guys can't know, but that's very cool.
yeah,
Amazing.
I can say it's with the CBC, and it's something I'm really, really excited about. They took it very seriously and are flying Cynthia in from Iqaluit.
Nice.
So I'm very happy about that.
It's such for the listeners out
Yeah.
there.
It's
I
a
hope you
huge
can hear
deal.
Gina's grin.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
That's so great. You've had some great success with this record and
I
getting it
think
on
so.
CBC.
Yeah.
I feel like it's quintessentially Canadian in this beautiful way.
I think so too.
You've captured every culture there is in this
Oh
country.
God, I wouldn't go that far.
You even have Brazilian percussion on there.
I do.
And as
actually.
someone who
There
grew
is.
up in like Little Italy and Little Brazil in Toronto, I could tell you that population will be very excited about this record.
That's true. Well, something I'm very excited about is Inuit throat singing mixed with berimbau. That's the Brazilian, like, you don't get to hear that every day.
What's a berimbau?
The berimbau is the really big stick with the gourd on it that you like hit and there's a string on the stick.
That's the ding a ding a ding kind
Yeah.
of sound in your record? Okay.
Yes, that's
cool.
what that is.
What are the drums that make the
That's a cuica.
a cuica?
Yeah, there's no
Was that a good
cuica on
impersonation?
my album.
That you
But
did
there,
that?
no, there's no cuica on Is Now, but there is lots of cuica in Gypsophilia.
Oh, okay. Maybe my brain mixed those up. I
Yeah.
swear I heard someone is now. No?
No. Throats, maybe,
Who
making
did
that
the
kind of sound.
Who did the percussion again?
Ross Burns,
Great job, Ross.
one of the leads from Gypsophilia.
It was a wicked band you had on this record. Who else?
Jordan Stevens on double bass.
Awesome.
Matt Gallant on drums, and also Gregory Woolner on drums. Matthew Nukinga on kilauti drum.
What's kilauti drum?
That's the big Inuit drum. The really,
Oh.
really big one.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's mixed so well too. All of the sounds come across.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on.
There is a lot. I feel like I'm missing somebody. When we get drums, fiddle,
You mentioned Cynthia.
throat,
Yeah.
Brazilian percussion. There's a gong player. There's a lot of gong actually on that album. You'd be surprised. The producer and I would be like, okay, what do we need here? Gong. Can we use more gong here?
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of acid was taken during this mixing
Can't say.
process. Okay, good to know. You and Funkadelic, Parliament Funkadelic, same sound. Gong.
Yeah, a lot of gong.
But then, so when you're mixing, you were pretty involved then, eh?
Oh, very much. Probably too much. My
What?
producer was like, get the hell out of here.
Are you serious?
A little bit.
Because you wanted to translate what was in your head.
Yes.
And it's their job to do that, right?
Yep. But I'm quite particular.
Do you like
Mom just smiling. Mhm.
Do you like working with a producer though? Is that like a
I liked working with him.
Okay.
And I chose Jace Lazick is his name. I chose him because he did the last Jerry Cans album, and he also worked a lot with throat singers. So I needed somebody who knew what throat singing is and how
Nice.
to mix it and how to work with it. And yeah.
Did your brain hear it as the bass, sort of like before you heard percussion or Brazilian
Yes.
percussion or anything? It was throat singing as the
Yes.
bass, and then you were
All
working.
of those pieces.
Oh,
I
wow.
heard violin and throat right from the get-go, right from the very beginning. But it wasn't until years later that I actually got to hear throat singing on those pieces.
Oh, in the studio.
And I was like, finally, like I can hear with my ears what I'm hearing inside my skull.
that must be. It sounds really complex, honestly. Even hearing you play one song, I'm like, there's a lot going on in there.
There's a lot going on, yeah.
And then hearing you call out numbers, and then watching you do it with a band is insane. Please go
It's
see
fun.
Gina with the full
It's
band
really
if you ever
fun.
get the chance, guys. Because they rock out too. Matt
that's
is
true.
one of the hardest working drummers
Yes,
in the
he
business.
is. He's so fun to play with.
And he smiles while like just killing these crazy rhythms.
It's
Just
true.
the smiliest guy in the world.
Oh, it's so true.
One thing we all did, which it was very moving to me, we kind of engaged in sort of a communion before the show, where this has never happened. It's like when musicians get together, there's often like this backstage thing. There's beer, there's everything else that's like publicly acceptable now, even though a lot of it's poison. Even the craft table generally at gigs, those carrots are poisonous, I'm telling you. They're covered in bleach.
Yeah,
but
they are.
But this gig, we had sort of this communion where somebody just pulled out a little bag of mushrooms and was like, anybody else want a tiny piece of mushroom? And it was the most natural and most like comfortable backstage, really, I'd ever experienced. It was like we were on this little plane together. It was very nice.
I loved that.
And I really appreciated that you guys were all into the idea of microdosing as therapy as well. This is something we've talked a bit about, eh?
Yes.
Do you engage in microdosing as therapy? Is it more about, because people use it to treat depression, or like I use it to actually helps me quit smoking, because I've tried it a couple times, and mushrooms, microdosing is a great way to take my mind off it. But what is it for you what do you think is the most useful use of a therapy like psilocybin?
Oh, there's so many uses. Anxiety. It lowers anxiety.
Nice.
It also, like you said, it helped you to quit smoking. Like I haven't quit alcohol. I mean, I'm drinking a cider right now. Shout out to Annapolis Cidery, by the way. Heyo. But it definitely makes me want to drink less. And like I found that when I was going to a lot of performances, I was drinking a lot when I was touring. It's like part of the culture very much. But also as somebody with undiagnosed ASD and...
What's ASD?
Autism spectrum disorder.
Okay.
I was finding a lot of the things really overwhelming, but I didn't know. So like the flashing lights, the super loud crowds, all of that stuff was affecting me on like a cellular level that I didn't know.
Wow.
So I was just drinking, of course, to like dull in the senses, you know, to be able to be in those environments. But I find the mushrooms help me somehow. Now I'm also always wearing earplugs, and I ask for no strobes, no strobe lights. I had one gig where there was a strobe light for like 3 hours in a row. That was so intense.
3 hours.
Yeah, so they just help to kind of mellow everything out and make me feel like happy and peaceful in environments that can sometimes be overwhelming.
That's a great way to talk about it, because Sarah McInnes and I talked a little bit about like end of life therapy with mushrooms as well. And man, yeah, I wish the public was kind of on that train. I really wish it was part of the hospital. Like,
me too. And maybe it will be there someday. I hope so.
If we can say shit on television, we should probably be allowed to have mushrooms in a hospital. It just seems silly.
Yeah, it does.
Like I have chronic back issues, and I think it's so silly that I go to the hospital and they give me some pill, and she's like, it's shaped like a house, and it's a muscle relaxant, and don't drive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, listen, I could microdose a bit of mushrooms and like have a great day and not be this guy all the day. Like, I don't even know what it's called. Something, Demerol, not Demerol. Fuck it all, something like that.
Demerol.
It's one of these.
Yes.
Anyway, I just think it's so silly that that's what they give you. That's the instant gratification.
Well, we're so
opioids.
removed from the natural world in our Collinet society. Just so removed. I mean, not all. I'm very grateful for Western medicine, don't get me wrong.
True. I won't get in the way of insulin.
But there are many, many plants and natural remedies that exist already for us. But no one can make money off of it. So people don't want you to have that.
Right, because it grows in the back of your barn by accident.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep.
I heard you were writing a book at one point.
Yes, actually I am. It's getting really close now. That's like probably the closest in the shoot. That's the next thing to come out.
What is your book? Will you explain it? Can we get an exclusive?
Yes, you can. It is an adult activity book for touring musicians.
Oh, that's
about how to be healthy and well on the road.
so brilliant.
And as someone who has toured for 18 years, probably almost 20 years with gypsophilia and then with jerry cans and now my own stuff. I've been able to explore a lot of the stuff that I write about in the book. So it's from experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will you give me a taste of a chapter?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's going to be chapters on meditation, yoga, like yoga that you can do on the airplane.
Right, because you're a trained yoga practitioner.
I am. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes. So meditation, yoga. There's talk about like natural remedies, things that can help you to sleep when you're all jet lagged, things that can give you energy, like plants.
What's a good plant for energy?
Ginseng.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I thought that was just like a dick pill kind of thing.
I don't know.
No?
I like it.
Okay.
For awakening properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just growing up, going through Chinatown, it was always like,
right.
Sir, you look like you have a problem.
Well, I can't attest to that, but
Okay.
I do know from experience that it has like an enlivening effect on me.
Okay. And then what's a good one for sleeping, actually?
Melatonin.
Oh, really?
For sure, yeah. But not to overdo it. Don't overdo anything.
Balance. What's the deal with people giving melatonin to their kids?
I probably wouldn't do that.
Why are people doing that?
To make them sleep.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's called a little bit of whiskey on the gums,
Well, I was
kiddo.
just going to say, yeah.
Melatonin, that's like taking it so far. Or what about nighttime tea? Well,
Oh, yes, I love that. I love sleepy time tea.
that would just knock a kid out,
Chamomile,
right?
that's in the book too.
Okay.
Different teas that you can use.
Do you have activities in the book too, you said?
Yes. So there's because what I realized this one day is that in my backpack, my own backpack, I had my agenda, my Sudoku book, my adult coloring book, my yoga book, and something else. And I was like, this is ridiculous. My bag's so heavy. All of these things need to go into one.
Yeah.
So there's going to be pages that you can color like mandalas, because looking at mandalas, listening to Baroque music, is very relaxing because of the patterns. So you can color those. There's going to be pages with Sudoku. There's pages for you to journal in. There's going to be chapters on crystals, how to use crystal energy to help you sleep, to help wake you up, to aid you.
This is incredible. I want a copy
Yes.
now.
Well, you have to wait.
I am pre-ordering.
You can.
I am right now.
Okay, awesome. Great.
I'll order 5. That seriously sounds like
Okay,
a
let's
book
tell
I
that to
need.
the unbeknownst publisher.
Yeah, hey publishers. Actually, that's most of my listeners is publishers.
Great.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Not actually, but you know what? I know 2. Mm-hmm. There are 2 publishers.
Great.
So listen up, Sumac Publishing. I know you're out there.
Yes, I have 2 more chapters, and then I'll be shopping it around. So
2024?
Yeah,
maybe?
probably.
2025?
Yeah. My
That's
editor,
current impression.
Jackie, is amazing. And she actually helped me with a paper that is getting published this coming spring.
An academic paper?
It is.
Wow.
It's in the Canadian Music Educators Journal.
I didn't know that was a thing. That sounds awesome.
It is, yeah.
Is it just for music educators? Do I have to log on through
No,
a
no,
university?
no.
Okay, it's public.
It's public.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So Jackie helped me with that, and it was so academic. Oh my God, I'm glad it's out there, and I'm really glad it's done. And I don't have to do that anymore because it's so rigid. My God. Anyway, this one's just fun. It's like farting around, just putting stuff out there that we enjoy. And Jackie and I are really similar.
Okay.
So she's also really good with keeping me on task. So yeah, we're going to be done by the spring, and then we're going to be putting it out to publishers in the summer, and then hopefully published in the fall.
Wow. Do
Yeah.
you think you'll end up doing a self-published thing? And so much of it is on Amazon now.
don't
Everybody
think so.
forces you into Amazon books and all
Nope,
that
that's
junk.
not happening either.
Good for you. You won't
No.
be part of that
No.
tidal wave of hatred.
Nope.
Okay.
I shall not.
I say that in this
Maybe
friggin-
Nimbus, if you're listening.
Nimbus?
Nimbus.
Ooh, that's
Nimbus.
nice. Hey, Nimbus. I just like saying Nimbus.
Yeah, me too. But I also like their work. So,
Nice.
yeah.
We should stop name dropping because none of these companies are getting free advertising. So I'm going to bleep every
I was just
single
going
one
to say,
of
you're
them.
probably going to edit all of that out anyway, so that's fine.
Especially Annapolis Cider. Are you kidding me? No way.
Is it? It is, yeah.
I'm going to bleep it just now, and I'm going to replace it with one of your little
Great.
Actually, if you could, yeah, just give me a pizzicato note. Just a boing. Perfect. That's what I'll replace all the company names with. No, I'm just kidding. Will you play me another song? Can I request one?
Sure.
You told me the background of this song, but maybe I'll let you introduce it however you want to, or if you want to talk about after you play it. But I would love to hear 4D.
Mm-hmm.
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 Okay. Yeah, so I am just going to preface this with it's a bit of a heavy topic and can be triggering for some folks. So I'm just going to say that.
Thank you.
But I actually did kind of write this piece. It came to me, but it also was like written for somebody. Her name was Delilah at that time, and it was for her sister. So her sister was actually murdered. And there was a Spryfield connection because this woman's body was found near where Mom lived, actually. And I was called to go sit with Delilah, and which I did. And it was really hard. I'm not going to get totally into it right now because it's a bit much, but it was a very intense, challenging time when I went and sat with her. A lot of grief.
What's the context like? Why did you get called?
Interesting. I got called because somebody who knew Delilah knew that I worked and lived with throat singers and that I actually knew how. Like, I do know how to throat sing. Okay. It is not something that I do publicly because it's not my tradition to share. However, when I was asked to go and sit with this Inuk woman, I just knew, like, I just needed to go there. And I did. And we actually did throat sing together after hours of getting a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little closer. And then finally, she had no idea who I was. We'd never met. But it was the sounds, it was the music that like brought her out of her anger and grief. And a friendship developed from that. And I wrote this piece for her, and she was actually in a really hard time in her life then, but after her sister was murdered, she kind of took it upon herself to like spread the word about violence towards Indigenous women and girls. And she went across Canada and did a talking tour about her experience and was shedding light on this to a lot of Canadians who didn't know about that. And then 2 years ago, she herself died under mysterious circumstances.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I believe personally that it was a homicide. I don't know exactly.
Never
but that's
investigated?
Just it was investigated. There's always, I don't know. Sometimes things that happen are called something else, just to kind of be done with it.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we say.
RCMP or Halifax?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, clean up your record, dudes.
It's complex.
Okay.
Like, all of these things are complex. So it was just really, it's actually kind of unfathomable to me that I wrote this piece for a woman whose sister was murdered, and then she herself was in turn potentially murdered. And I have a lot of Inuk and Indigenous girlfriends, and I see the struggles. I also am a woman, and I have my own struggles in this world filled with violence, but it's nothing compared to what they face. And just as a little bit of an outsider, I've been able to see that for myself and experience that, you know, just walking alongside of these women, including Dee. Oh, yeah. So that's where this piece came from, and I don't always share that story because it's tough. And it's really hard to, of course, lose people that you care for, especially in such a violent way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being so real about it and willing to talk about that stuff.
I do think it's important.
Yeah.
Because it is happening. Like, it's happening right now in all of our communities in Canada. And as non-Indigenous people, I think it's really actually important to say, hey, like, no, this can't happen anymore. We know about it now. Like, before we might not have known about it, but now we all know, and we have to do things to protect vulnerable people.
Seriously, like the way that people just treat it like it's part of the news cycle.
Yes.
And just say, okay, that
Oh,
there's
well.
another story and there's another story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, talking about it's, I feel like the only real way to normalize it and break through and actually start fixing the problem. So thank you, because music is so healing.
Yes.
And
it
you
is.
wrote this piece before Dee died.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your healing too, because I guess when you
Yeah.
play this piece, is it sort of triggering for you in a way?
Oh, it's certainly triggering to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I see this piece more, and Dee and I talked about it after, because I presented it to her. And I asked actually if I had her permission to share her story and her sister's story. And she did give it to me, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this.
Well, thank you, Dee.
Yeah, because she wants people to know too, right? And so, yeah, I don't find it so triggering to play, but I see it as like collective grief, moving through grief. I see it as a stepping stone from one place to another place. And I know that we have lots of reasons to grieve right now on this planet, and I do believe that we feel it, whether we are conscious of it or not. I think that we are all interconnected, and I do feel that we resonate with everything. Anything that happens to one piece of life on this planet, we all feel, like through the web.
Your tuning fork is rooted deep in this earth, isn't it?
It is. And I think also the psychedelics like really do help to open us up to these ideas. And they're not potentially scientifically mapped out just yet, but I think they probably will be more and more and more. They are, actually.
As we
you know?
figure out what's
Yeah.
going on up here in this
Yeah.
weird shape.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
what's going on in this whole life body.
I think it's so interesting that, well, actually, I want to ask, so if you're moving from one stepping stone of grief to another, what comes after the grief for you?
Well, I do think it's healing. I don't think that grief ever goes away. I think like when we lose somebody very close to us, it's always there. Like it's always present with us. We learn to live without people and beings, pets, you know?
Yeah.
So we learn to live and continue on. But I do feel that we all carry these little pockets of, you know, people. I like to think of them as just like special little places, like in my body, that I carry these loved ones with me. Even though they're not in physical form anymore, they are certainly with me energetically and in my spirit and mind. And so I think collectively I don't think there is an after grief. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
it's
think
part
there's
of the-
healing, and there's a way to move on and to enjoy our lives and to enjoy the connections and like what we have here, because we're all impermanent beings, and that's really important. So I would say that, I guess, is what comes after, if anything comes after. It's the knowing, you know, like when someone's been through an experience like that and you've been through an experience like that, you guys can connect on a different level than you can with someone who hasn't yet had that experience. And we're all going to have that experience.
Yeah. So why not just get it out in the open?
Yeah, and I do think
Connect
it's
with each
like there's a death positive movement happening right now. And
Yeah.
like one of the things is once a year there's a grief in public day. Like not a lot of people know about this yet.
What
but
day of the year is it?
I think it's in April.
Oh.
I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I do believe it's in
Spring.
April.
That's good.
And people are encouraged to wear their hearts on their sleeves and just talk about loss and grief and how we move through and how we feel it and how we connect through it, you know?
I always loved the Day of the Dead in Mexico.
Yes.
I think that's such a cool way to do it. I mean, obviously it's turned into like skeletons and a whole parade, and I'm sure everything gets blown out of proportion, just like every friggin' parade does, as we stand beside a Christmas tree and with fake gifts underneath. Oy, but
I don't think those gifts are fake. I just have to say, one of them has a name on it.
this is definitely fake.
Okay, that one
This
is.
is.
There's a real one over
This
here.
looks like a Happy Meal.
that does. Yeah.
But you're right. There's probably actually real gifts up here for children. So I'm watching you, audience members. Anyway, we were talking about really heavy stuff, and I just want to say thank you for being so real, especially with instrumental music.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing. Like, I don't have to say any of this. No one knows what it's about. No one's going to know.
They get to feel whatever they feel.
Exactly.
I listened to it and I was like, this is, interestingly enough, and this is me admitting my ignorance too to what it's actually about, but it had such a march feeling to me. So there is obviously something very diligent and marching about it and wanting to get a point across. Mm-hmm. But it felt like a wedding march to me. Mm-hmm. There's something dark and beautiful. It felt like an ancient wedding march. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you're still putting a lot of positive energy into this piece.
I hope so. Yeah, because it's more about moving through it together. Not getting stuck, not like focusing on the loss. It's about like moving through together.
Will you show us how you move through it?
I'll play it for you. Yes.
That sounded really weird now that I said that sentence.
Well,
show me how you move through it.
I can only move through it the way that I do, but everyone will have their own way.
Okay, so pretend that Gina didn't say any of that, and now interpret the song however you want. Just kidding. Take that all to heart.
No, do what you want. This one also starts with the bird song.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which bird?
Don't know.
I'm going to keep testing.
I should really write these down.
No, it's stupid nonsense.
No, it's important. There's actually some like bird organizations that ask musicians to write music for them.
Like Cornell, probably?
No, it's like Save the Birds.
Oh.
Save the songbirds of the forest.
Well, that's way more interesting than Cornell. Thank you, Gina Burgess.
You're welcome.
This has been really cool to just sit and chat with you like this.
Yes.
You're such a fascinating. I've held off gushing about you the whole show because I love your record a lot, and again,
I'm so glad you do.
it's insane. It's really like an accomplishment.
Well, it took 9 years, so.
And no big deal. Yeah, it just took my entire life of playing. Great job.
Thank you.
But you're one of those musicians, like there's this intensity to your playing. But also when I first met you or saw you play, there's an intensity to you that I'm going to be like fully honest with you. At first, watching, it's very intimidating.
I've heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's kind of bullshit though, because
Good, because I don't wish that.
you are so engaging and open and sweet. Like it's so not what I think a lot of people expect from a musician of your caliber. Like usually when someone is as talented as you are on an instrument, they're a freak. You know what I mean? You're giving me that look.
I can be a sweet freak.
I was just gonna be silent until you finally put your foot in your mouth. No, but like, yeah, you're just so nice and so engaging and so collaborative. It's really amazing.
Yes.
Like you go out a lot and you jam too in the city, eh?
I love to jam.
So
I jammed with you guys.
that was
deadly.
really fun.
That was so fun.
You took the Coconut Kings to a whole nother level. That's right.
It was very fun.
But I want to know, you have a lot on the back burner that we've talked about. So before we wrap this whole evening up, what's next? What's next year other than your book? Touring?
Yep. Oh, I have some big things, actually. Come to think of it.
Are you getting married?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
God,
sorry,
no.
that's my parent brain being like, oh, are you getting... No, sorry.
Mom's walking out, actually, right now.
Yeah. I'm out of here. I've heard that one before.
No. She has heard all about this before, though. So in July, I'm touring Newfoundland with the Inukshuk drum dancers from Iqaluit. So that's a group that I've been working with at the high school up there. So Mary Piercy Lewis started up a music program in Iqaluit. There's only one music teacher in Nunavut, and that's her. I actually did my music education internship with her.
When you first moved up there?
No, this was just last year.
Oh, okay.
When I got my teacher's certificate.
Cool.
But I've known Mary like since I went up, which is why I wanted to do it with her. So she has this choir. It's an amazing choir. They sing in English, Inuktitut, French, and sometimes other languages. And part of that ensemble are these drum dancers. And so they throat sing, they drum dance. And because on my album I have a kilauti player, I asked one of them to do one song with me in November for my like Northern album release. And then the other students got word of this and they all wanted to be part of it. So then they took it upon themselves to choreograph drum dances to every single song off that album.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
So you're touring
amazing.
that show?
Yeah.
How long? How long is the run?
So the run's 1 week in July, starting in Bonavista, actually.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And
I
then
love
going
Bonavista.
to Willingate and down to the West Coast and then back up to St. John's.
You going all the way to Grossmorn with it, too?
Yeah.
You doing like July? Is that Woody Point?
I'm in contact with Woody Point, like
Woody
facilitating
Point.
it. I'm in the
Listen to this.
facilitation process right now with this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Woody Point's amazing. I
Well,
wish
I
to
hope
go there.
everybody gets wind of this right now, because I feel like
Me
there's
too.
a few listeners in Newfoundland who are into
Probably.
this. So,
Yeah.
oh,
So that's going to happen, and that's happening actually because the choir got invited to do this concert called the Harbor Voices, so the choir is going to be there. So financially, I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise.
Yeah.
Because it's an enormous cost to go in and out of Nunavut. So the choir's going to be there, so my bandmates are going to come from Halifax, and we'll scoop up the 9 dancers, and then we'll travel the island, and then they'll go back home. So that's happening in July, and then in August, the Pan-Arctic Fiddle Summit is happening. So there's been this event in the south of Canada for fiddling since 1956, I think.
Whoa,
and this
okay.
is the first year that it's going to be in a territory. And so myself and some other people, Darlene Nukinga, whose husband is on the album, the Kilauti player.
Cool.
Her and I and some other people are going to take the fiddle players from Nunavut, and hopefully this woman from Nunatsiavut, Kendra, is going to come to Whitehorse and perform for the very first time. And the grand finale of this event is going to be Ravens on the Roof, which I played for you guys first here. So that's really exciting too.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's huge.
It is huge. Actually, it really is huge. So the students in Yellowknife and the students in Whitehorse have already learned Ravens on the Roof, and now we're learning it in Nunavut, and then we're all going to have it together.
You're very smart to get students learning your music.
I
That's
actually
well
didn't,
planned.
it wasn't my idea.
Still,
But yes.
somebody...
Do you know what I will say? This is like kind of maybe weird. But anyway, one of my students at the public school said something about like, oh, well, are you on YouTube? And I was like, yeah, I am actually. And so many of the funding things like require you to have subscribers.
Yes. Ugh.
So I have hundreds of students in the public school.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, one of them was like,
Suck
oh,
it.
I went to your YouTube channel, I subscribed. I was like, did you now? Hey, did everyone else go to the
Yeah.
YouTube channel and subscribe?
Oh, Gina, jeez, that's
I
cheating.
literally just got like 100 subscribers in like a week.
They're future fans too, even if they don't actually like know what they're subscribing to.
They do. They're all little fiddle players, but like, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well
Yeah.
done.
I know. That was a happy accident.
Your charts are going to be standards in the public school system in 20 years.
That would be so amazing. That would be so amazing.
I could see the genuine look behind your eyes. Your brain is ticking, going like,
Oh, yes.
I'm going to start writing those tunes now.
Well, actually, so the main focus, the whole point to this album, right from the get-go, I heard it orchestrated. So that's going to be like the end of this project. The way I see it is that it will be orchestrated for full orchestra, 2 throat singers,
Whoa.
1, maybe 2 Kilauti dancers. So that will happen. Mark my words. I don't know when.
Dream Orchestra.
It's going to happen.
Where's the Dream Orchestra?
Symphony Nova Scotia.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, obviously. But if we had to go outside of Nova Scotia, no offense, Symphony NS, I'm sure every one of those players
And
would take a
Newfoundland
job.
Symphony Orchestra.
Whoa,
They're
okay.
all my friends.
Okay.
England.
Oh, whoa.
New York Phil? I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Oh, who's fiddle idol for you?
Oliver Schroer.
Ooh, I don't know Oliver Shore.
Oh man, he totally opened worlds for violinists in Canada. Nobody
Canadian?
did stuff like that before him. Nobody, I wouldn't be doing this right now without him.
What era?
80s,
Oh, really?
90s. His last album is spectacular. Actually, highly influenced my album. Yeah, he wrote it on the Camino in Spain.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
thought you just meant like in the back of an El Camino. It's like, that's very different.
No, it's incredible. And he does a lot of soundscapes too. So he records and gets the sounds of the church bells and like the cattle walking around
Oh, the
and just like
bells.
very much the moment that he was in.
Okay.
Yeah, and he has a student, he's dead now, but Jaron Freeman Fox is one of his students that does a lot of different cool things. And I noticed that Jaron was just on like a hiatus for a bit, but he's back out. So I'm excited to see like what is he up to.
Nice. Are you
And then
really
I just have to give
influenced?
a shout out to Donald McClellan and Jacques. Miller.
Absolutely. Oh, Jacques Mindro. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two blow my mind.
Donald, oh my God.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, I want to see the three of you play some
Me too.
Roman music.
That'd be amazing.
All right, fiddle idols. Did you go through like a Mahavishnu orchestra phase? No.
I didn't really, but I do love Indian music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Shakti then, like that vibe. Have you
I
heard
don't know.
Shakti?
I don't think I have.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'm gonna send you Zuze.
Awesome.
From Toronto, and
Yep.
then that's what we were listening to before the show. For anyone
Yes.
curious, great band. And then yeah, Shakti. It's it's great.
Awesome.
Well, Gina, I think I've said everything to you I can think of. Is there anything you want to say to me? We didn't talk about your beadwork. That was one thing.
Oh, that's fine. No, we don't need to talk about that.
Well, that's episode 2, Fred.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll start with beadwork. We'll actually craft during the show.
Oh
next
my
time.
God, that's a great idea.
Isn't it?
Yes.
We have this
You can
beautiful
felt.
table. I'll felt and you
I'll
can
bead.
bead.
Yes.
Okay, that's episode 2. Coming up, we'll do it.
You guys can bring your crafts too.
That would be amazing. A craft night podcast recording?
Yes.
Oh my God, I should just take this to
At the
Knit Nights
Ardoise
across the
Hall.
province. Knit Night is a separate podcast altogether, actually. Craft Night? Oh, let's do that. Okay?
I'm down.
You guys in?
Grammy, you down?
Will you host it, Grammy? Will you be the host? Or I'll be your Ed McMahon. You can be the host, and then I'll go like, ho ho, Grammy. Would that work for you? Okay. Cool.
She's scared. I can
I'm
tell.
so sorry. I do that. I generally do that to Grammys. If they
it's
don't
okay.
love me, they're terrified of me. Do you want to close the show with a song?
Sure.
How do you want to say goodbye?
I want to say goodbye by playing the one tune that Papa did teach me. It's
Ooh.
not on my album.
That's a really nice way to end it.
Yes, because did Papa hang here?
Do you
Do
say
you think?
hang here?
Hang out here.
Okay, good.
No,
Sorry,
no,
that's
no.
a dark joke. I know. I was like, whoa. Because I
Sorry,
mean, I
that
lived in
went like
Kentville
this.
for a bit. Kentville was like perfectly comfortable with their public hangings
Right.
until like 1920.
What a world.
Anyway, what's the song that your papa told?
I'm going to play Maple Sugar.
Whoa, cool. Okay.
Do you know that one? You must know that one. Of course.
What's the version that? I guess the version that he taught you. But was there like a record that you guys listened to of this?
No.
No, just played it around the house.
Maybe Don Messer?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably him. Yeah.
That's such a great way to end it, dude. Kudos. Okay, how about a round of applause for Gina Burgess? Fucking A. I've been dying to talk to you since I started this podcast, so thank you for
I've
doing
been
this.
dying to be on here.
Oh, stop it. You're just patronizing me.
No, I'm not.
Patronizing. Gina Burgess, everybody.
Do you have like a jingle? Like, do, Zach?